Is now actually the right time to buy a house, or should you sit tight and wait it out? In this video, I'm going to break down what is really going on with home prices, mortgage rates, inventory, and the overall economy, so you can decide what is right for you and your family. I'll talk big picture USA trends, and because I'm in New Jersey, I'll sprinkle in how this plays out in markets like ours, where inventory is still tight and prices are holding strong. What's really going on in the market? Over the last couple of years, the housing market has been stuck in slow gear. Fewer sales, not a ton of new listings, and prices that feel like they only want to go one direction, up. 2025 was one of the slowest years for home sales in about a decade, and many of those same sluggish trends are still with us as we move through 2026. At the same time, mortgage rates have finally backed off their recent highs, which is a huge part of the story for buyers this year. Is it a good time? Depends on you. The honest answer to is now a good time to buy? It is a good time to buy, only if it's the right time for you financially and personally. Market conditions matter. Rates, prices, inventory, but your income stability, savings, and how long you plan to stay in the home matter just as much, if not more. Think of the market as the backdrop. Your situation is the main character in this story. What economists are saying? Redfin's chief economist has been very clear. For buyers who can comfortably afford it, this can be a good window to purchase a home. Prices have climbed to new highs, which is actually scaring so many people away, but that also means serious buyers often have more leverage to negotiate. The message from the economists? If you're going to buy, go in with your eyes open, solid finances, and a clear understanding of your local market, not just the national headlines. Home prices are high and they're still creeping up. Nationally, the typical home is selling from the low to mid 400s, and prices are roughly 30% higher than they were just 5 years ago. Prices have been posting year-over-year gains for more than 2 years, and while the pace of growth is expected to slow, most experts are not predicting a big nationwide price crash. In many New Jersey areas, especially desirable commuter towns with strong schools, prices have stayed firm because inventory is limited and the demand on good homes is still steady. Why haven't prices dropped much? Affordability has been squeezed, and so a lot of would-be buyers have now stepped into the sidelines, which has caused inventory to build up in some parts of the country, but not here in New Jersey. Many sellers responded by pulling their homes off the market rather than slashing prices, which keeps overall prices higher even as markets cool. Forecasts for 2026 call for slower price growth, not big declines, which means waiting for a huge discount may not be a realistic strategy in many markets. Mortgage rates. There is a bright spot for buyers. The good news, mortgage rates have come down significantly from where they were in early 2025, where many buyers were starting at 7% or higher. Recently, 30-year fixed rates have been hovering around the 6% range, sometimes dipping just under that level, much easier on the budget than last year's peak. The economists expect rates to stay in this general neighborhood for 2026, bouncing between the high 5% range and low 6% range, rather than falling back to those ultra-low pandemic levels. Your interest rates directly impact your monthly payment. Even a small change in a rate can mean hundreds of dollars more or less each month. On a typical US home around the low 400s with 20% down, today's rates can save tens of thousands of dollars in interest over the life of a loan compared to last year's highs. This is why so many buyers are watching rates closely. Every drop boosts their purchasing power and can make the difference between barely doable and comfortable. Where buyers have the upper hand now, nationally, it's the strongest buyer's market in years, with significantly more sellers than buyers in many places, especially in some parts of the South and some vacation or disaster-prone areas. That extra inventory gives buyers more room to negotiate, whether that means price reduction, closing cost help, repair credits, or other concessions. In contrast, some Midwest and East Coast markets and many New Jersey towns are still pretty tight on inventory, so sellers there have more power and prices stay firmer. Inventory, plenty in some places, tight in others. There are close to 1.7 million homes for sale across the country, one of the higher levels since the pandemic, but still low compared to long-term history. States like Florida and Texas are leading the pack in sheer number of listings and months of supply, while other states remain more constrained. Here in New Jersey, many local markets remain what economists call structurally supply constrained, which means people are staying put longer, there are not enough new homes being built, and these well-located towns are seeing very, very limited inventory. Demand. Why are so many buyers on the sidelines? Even with lower rates and more homes on the market, buyer demand is still quite soft because overall housing costs, prices, taxes, and insurance are all high. The national data shows first-time buyers now make up a historically low share of the market and are older and more cost-burdened than those in the past. Many younger buyers are turning to family for help with down payments, and some households are making big sacrifices just to afford housing, from delaying major life events to adjusting their living arrangements. Inflation, the economy, and what could change. One wild card is inflation. It hasn't spiked, but it's still running above the Federal Reserve's comfort zone and could pick back up depending on economic and policy decisions. If inflation heats up, it often leads to higher interest rates and higher housing costs, which would make it more expensive to borrow and to own. That's why some buyers feel that locking in at a rate while things are relatively stable could be smarter than waiting and hoping everything gets cheaper later. So how should you buy in an uncertain economy? First, stick to a realistic budget. This is not the time to stretch to the very top of what a lender says you qualify for, just because technically you can get the loan. Second, lean into negotiation. In many areas, offers under asking price, seller credits, inspection repairs are back on the table in a big way. Third, be strategic about your mortgage. Shop multiple lenders, compare programs, ask about options that let you benefit if rates drop again later, such as float down locks or future refinances. Another important question, should you sell before you buy? If you already own a home, selling before you buy your next one can simplify your life. You know exactly what your net from your sale is and exactly how much you can put down. It reduces the risk of carrying two mortgages at once, which can be so stressful, especially in a choppy economy. Some people still do like to buy and then sell using bridge loans or strong pre-approvals, but that tends to work best for those with very stable, higher incomes and a strong risk tolerance. Me, personally, I could never stand the stress. Personal checklist. Are you ready to buy? Look at your financial health, savings, credit scores, debts, an emergency fund that could cover you at least 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then decide if owning makes more sense than renting in your situation by comparing realistic monthly costs and how long you plan to stay put. Remember, owning a home means budgeting, not just for the mortgage, but for property taxes, homeowners insurance, repairs, and ongoing maintenance. Job location and lifestyle. Buying makes more sense if you have a stable job or reliable income and expect to stay in the same area for several years. Think about local climate risks, floods, fires, storms, and how that could affect your insurance costs and resale value over a period of time, especially as more insurers are pulling back from higher risk areas. You need to be honest about your lifestyle. Do you have time to do the work that's necessary for the yard and projects and repairs? Or are you just happier with a simple setup and fewer responsibilities? Only you can really make that decision. So is now a good time to buy? If you have the income, savings, and stability, this can be a good moment to buy. Rates are lower than last year, inventory is better in many areas, and buyers have more negotiating power than they've had in a very long time. If your finances are shaky, your job feels uncertain, or you're not sure you'll stay put, it may be smarter to wait, keep saving, keep watching the market rather than forcing a purchase. Buying a home is an extremely big deal. The key is to be prepared. Know your numbers, talk with a knowledgeable local agent, get pre-approved, and be ready to move when the right home at the right price shows up. My name is Cori. I'm a local real estate agent right here in Monmouth County with RE/MAX Central. I look forward to speaking with you all again soon. If you need any help or have any questions at all on anything whatsoever related to real estate, Monmouth County or New Jersey, just reach out. I'd love to be a local resource and help answer all your questions. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll catch you on the next one.